Alright, I'm going to go over my chart and Thinkorswim, my settings I used, and the technical indicators I use. When you first look at my chart, you can notice a few things. One, there's a black grid. The default is gray, just the way I like it. The way it's just, I like the black better. Looks cleaner in my opinion. It's just aesthetically, it's my preference. It doesn't give any advantage or anything. Another thing is I have after hours trading off. In my opinion, after hours trading, especially on a technical standpoint, is just useless. There's a lot of unneeded noise, especially if you're swing trading, is trading longer term. I could get it if you're scalping or day trading. You can mark after or pre-market and after hour lows and highs. Just swing trading longer term, I just think it creates unneeded noise, and I think it's a lot easier to spot key technical levels with after hours trading off. So I have that turned off. Another thing, I have the grid off, and that's basically this chart. I'll show you how you can do that. With my indicators, I use volume and ATR, average true range. This shows you the amount of price or a stock moves on average in that time frame. So for example, I'm on the 1 hour chart for TWLO. It moves 3.66 points in average in an hour. I use this mainly when I'm deciding to make shorter term riskier plays like YOLO or lotto plays. I'll use the ATR, especially on the daily chart. If I'm looking and I can see, okay, the stock moves 10.5 points on average in a day. That means at the most on a good day, starting from low and just trending up all day, the stock will move about 10 points. So now, okay, if I wanted to play a lotto on the stock, if I think it's going to go up tomorrow, I wouldn't play anything higher than a 226 strike. You go to TWLO, and I'll probably play the 225 strike if I thought there was a reason for the stock to trend up significantly tomorrow. And that's based off of the ATR again. And you can do longer term trades. You can look at the weekly, say, okay, the stock moves 20 points in a week, and you can go to, if you always wanted to play it safe, you can play a strike price, the 240 strike price, 20 points out, and okay, next week, if I suspect the stock's gonna have a good week, it'll be up to 236 next week. And that's how you can do that. Those are the two indicators I use. Down here I use two SMA lines, the 14 and the, or no, not the 14, the 21 and the 50, I believe. 21 and 50. I just started using these this week. I've never been a fan of moving averages. I just haven't used them, and I just started literally this week, and I like them so far. You can see that price does respect these lines quite a bit, especially on longer time frames. And I mean, this is the 30-minute. This isn't even a longer time frame, but you can see it respected here. 4 hour respected the 50-day around here. So, and you can see it kind of just trends with the 21 and 50 a little bit. I'm still testing them out again my first week. I like them so far, and I'll probably continue using them. So this is my chart here. This is the main chart I used to trade off of. I also have a 4-grid chart right here. This is what I look at throughout the day most of the time, but I won't base a trade off of these charts. If I ever want to take a trade, I'll go back to this chart. With that being said, I usually look at this chart, like I said, because I can look at multiple stocks at once. This is good when I have multiple open positions, or if I'm just waiting for multiple stocks to hit a key level. It's a whole lot easier to watch them through this. These are always on a 5-minute time frame. My preferred time frame, 1 minute, is just, it's unnecessary in my opinion. And if you want to trade on something higher, be my guest. I prefer 5-minute though. I think it's the sweet spot right in the middle. So, and I have RSI in each one of these charts. I preferably, like I said, I don't take trades off this chart. I look at the RSI just to give me an idea short term if the stock is overbought or oversold, but I'll never base a trade off of RSI. I see people basing trades off of technical indicators such as MACD and RSI. In my opinion, you should look for price action to confirm instead of just solely basing a trade off of a technical indicator, just because these indicators are lagging, which means that they show what has already happened and not really showing the future. So just because the stock is oversold, especially in SPY, I mean, you'll see this a lot. It could stay oversold for quite a bit of time, as well as overbought for a period of a few days to a week. So just be careful with that if you're taking trades off of technical indicators. So now that I showed both of my charts, I'll show you how to get them like this. Drawing style, reset the chart default. That's not what I want to do. Studies, reset to factory default, no. Here we go. So right here I can show you how to make the chart. I can remove these two, put two above. It's pretty simple. Fill stocks in. Alright, 4 stocks, they all come up on the daily chart at first with a blue volume subgraph right here. I'll move these all to 5 minutes. And what I would do for each chart, I'll show you on one just so I don't take up more time than I need to. I'll do the same thing for every chart though. First I'm going to go to here and customize grid is off. I'm going to go to appearance, and if this is checked like this, sometimes they are, I don't know if for default they are, I just leave the green bar unfilled. Equities, or no, under general I go to overlap volume. That puts the volume up here instead of it being separately. I go to studies, and on each chart, like I said, I'll add RSI. There you go, like that. And that's really it, right? That's basically how I have my chart. It's really simple. You could remove the grid if you want, but I do keep after hours trading on these charts. And just like that. So I do that for each one of my charts, all 4 of my charts. Then eventually they look like this. So that's what I do for these. Now my main chart, if I pull up style, reset to chart default. Okay. So this is what a default chart will look like. Just like this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, go to appearance, turn this black, and I'm going to remove the grid. Just like that. I'm going to go to equities. I'm going to remove volume subgraph because we're going to be adding our own. I'm going to go to equities. I'm going to remove extended hours. Like that. And now I'm going to go to studies, edit studies, add volume average, and average true range. And I leave these how they are. The reason why I prefer this over the default blue one is because this volume graph, not only does it show if a candle's red or green, but it also shows the 50-day volume average. So it can show you if the volume's above average or below average, and this can tell you a lot, such as if a lot of people are buying in or selling. It can indicate that a stock can be ready to move. It can indicate that there's a news catalyst that came out. It can indicate that smart money is getting into the stock. There's a lot of things that volume can indicate, so I always pay attention to volume. I then go here, I go to price or time axis, and I move this to 50 bars to the right just to get it more in the middle, like that. And that's really what I do with this chart, nothing else. I use Fibonacci retracement levels. You can go to drawings and use these here if you wanted to. Say you wanted to figure out the bottom of these, and you can see the reason why I like them is because price does respect these levels quite often and a lot. Right here you'll see it bounce, consolidated between the 61 and 70. Eventually it broke through. And another great thing about Fibonacci retracement levels is I would say it's the easiest way to get an idea of where a stock can be going in the future, especially if it's a level a stock hasn't hit before. So let me remove these. For example, a stock's at an all-time highs. Where do you want to see it go next? Well, these levels are highly respected. The 161.8% area, this 229 area, 230-ish area, I would guess that's going to be a next level of major resistance. So you can always use these as future price targets with stocks. So that's a great thing about these Fibonacci retracement levels. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, I wanted to go over two stocks for you guys. I wanted to go over TWLO and BYND. TWLO, we have an open position in it already. I made a play today. I don't know exactly when it was. It was like earlier in the morning. I think it was around here. It's like 135, 140-ish. We saw TWLO end up breaking out of this 210 support or 210 resistance that it was holding for a while. It closed right around 210 yesterday, gapped up in the morning and opened up and ran all the way up to 216, where it's had a pretty strong level of resistance. You can't see it on here, but on the, if you did want to go to the after hours chart, you can see after hours hit 216 and came back down, and that's the level it touched today, right at the top. And then it came back down throughout the day, but it tested this 2.9 to a 210 level multiple times. Ended up coming down, tested it once here, tested 210 around right here, and then came back down and really tested 209 end of day, and it held it really well. This is looking quite strong going into tomorrow, throughout the whole week, depending where futures are. Right now they're down right around 1%. It's not looking too good. I'm looking for it to hold this 203 level. Once it drops, if it drops below this 203 level, that's when I would consider cutting out of this play. Of course, I'll let you guys know. But right now my target is 220. I was thinking we would hit it by Friday, depending how tomorrow opens, because tomorrow is Thursday, and we may not hit it by tomorrow or by Friday. It may be next week, but if it isn't this Friday, I can definitely see us hitting 220 by next Friday. So we have a 230, right? Yeah. July 17th, 230 call open. I got filled for 670. I know a few members got filled. I know most people actually got filled for less than that, 260, 250, which is good. And we're just riding this out. I'm gonna have to see what happens. Next level is this 213.4 area. Once we break through that, we have the strong resistance of 216. And once we break through that, I think we can hit 220 with no issue. Usually when I'm swing trading and I'm looking at charts, I look at the 4-hour daily and weekly charts. I like looking at the higher time frame charts, just my preference. And the daily chart yesterday was looking really solid. As you see, we hit this 210 level back in May, and now we tested it again yesterday, about almost a month later, 3 weeks later, and we gapped through today. Now this candle, it's very hard to tell on the higher time frame. It's a Doji candle. It can either be signs of a continuation or a reversal. If we do come back down tomorrow, I don't see us coming back down to 203. However, if we do go up and we break this 216 level, 220 is on its way, which would be really nice, and I see us hitting it next Friday, by next Friday, if not this Friday. So there's that. Now, before we go over BYND, which I do want to go on, TTD, this was a play that I made yesterday, and we ended up selling out today. I just want to show you what I saw on this in particular. So again, it's a similar setup to TWLO. We tested it back June 10th. Came back down. It's been holding this daily trend line right here really well. It would have been really nice if I got filled, if I saw this trade coming in right around this 345 area back on the 15th. Unfortunately, I didn't see that, but it had a engulfing candle, huge run up yesterday. We waited and we got filled. We got filled sometime in the morning, I think. Ended up gapping up in the morning, holding this 374 level, opened up above it. We ran all the way up to 395 at the high. I ended up selling. I didn't ride it all the way up to the top. I think we sold somewhere around here, and it was still enough for a 30% plus profit on this play right here. I still do think we can see 400 by Friday. This was my initial price target, but we ran up so much. Premiums were going up, skyrocketing. I decided to sell out. If you're playing TD or are looking to get back in, I would look for a retest of the 374 area first. Or this trend line right here. We're still holding this trend line really well, and I expect us to eventually come back down and retest it if we don't hit 400 by Friday. BYND. I currently don't have any positions open in BYND, but I am looking to in the future. It did really well this morning, as well as the other growth stocks. That's what I realized. There's something with growth stocks, BYND, TTD, and TWLO. They all ran up in the morning. On BYND, I'm looking for a break of this 170 level, 168, 170 level right here. This is really strong resistance. If you go on a weekly chart, you can see very strong resistance. And honestly, once we break this, I think we're off to test all-time highs. I'm fairly confident we will. Obviously, that will take a long time. Once we broke, if you go back to reference, I mean, we broke it here, and there were earnings. So I mean, the stock ran up 61 points this week, very large, but with an average of 22 points a week. Once we break this 180 level, 240, that's 60 points. And we can take a few weeks to a month to hit all-time highs. But I do think we will test all-time highs on BYND once we break through this 170, 180-ish area right here. I'll be looking for a play if we pull back to 142. This purple trend line we've been holding, if we test this purple trend line again and reject off it or bounce off of it, I'll be looking for a play. But I'm mainly looking for this technical level of 142, 143 to retest. Or I'm looking for a breakout. If we don't retest that, I'm looking for a breakout of the 170 area, and that's when I'd be adding a long position. I was thinking far out, really far out, just because I'd like to hold August contracts. You can look at 200. They're expensive, but I mean BYND, and it has time, 31 delta, 15 theta. This looks pretty good in my opinion. Something like this, or maybe even 220s. 240s are a little far out in my opinion. I think 200 or 220s for August. Maybe I could grab. I always like playing different expirations, different strike prices. So August 200s or 220s, and then you could go July 180s. Longer term once we break out of that area. But I do think BYND can run a lot. Shorter term, I noticed that we dropped all the way back down to this technical level of 155, 154.2, somewhere around here. And in the last 30 minutes, we actually did bounce off of it. Looks quite bullish. And on the 30-minute chart, you can see the 1 hour chart, we do have the 21. This is 21, I believe. The 21 SMA line coming in right under acting as support. So what I would do with this, if you wanted to, it may not be a bad idea if you can afford it to play some lottos, depending on where BYND opens. 160, 167, 165. If you want to be risky, I mean, they're like $1.70, $1.75. can always go over with 170s. Tomorrow seeing where it opens, but if we reject this area, that's what I'd be looking at. But besides that, besides some really short-term cheap lottos, I am waiting for it to either pull back to this 142 area or for a breakout of the 170 area. Alright, that's it. That's all I have for tonight. Hope you guys learned something. You can learn to set up your charts and just an insight of what I'm thinking on a few stocks myself. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night and a good week.